MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. Alright, what's going on? How we doing? Hope everybody had a good week. Sound check is coming through, okay? Let's get this show on the road. I already did all my pre-market awareness check and all that stuff when they start today's stream. As you can see, today's stream is going to be a special one because it's going to be the last Futures Trade Radio for a minute. It is, as you can see by the title, it is the season finale. I'll get into that a little bit deeper in a minute. Make sure I got everything else ready to go. Got about 5 minutes before the open. Do this quick little rundown for our pre-market awareness. See our volume check there. A little bit, kind of heavy for recent sessions, but lighter than yesterday. Really everything is, MQ has been steadily climbing throughout the session. And then also definitely got to remember we got a PMI at 9:45. It could get interesting at that time. For me, usually I don't change anything in how I trade typically, other than I like to be flat during those times for economic events. But if I was going to hold a position through that, I would trade it the exact same way. So, kind of see how this compares to the rest of the board. RTY and YM isn't really as aggressive long as NQ and the ES. We do see a slight climb with the ES, but NQ is definitely the aggressor this morning, which is not always the case. Go ahead and make sure I got everything checked off and ready to trade, focus on what I need to do, which is why this is the main reason why I'm gonna take a break from the Futures Trade Radio. Make sure I need to really focus in on what I'm doing. I really need to focus in on what I'm doing. I said that. While it's not super difficult to just turn on all my streaming stuff and trade and share my charts and all that stuff, and my insight and my thoughts while I trade. It does take it's the energy that's required. It takes away from me actually executing, and it's difficult to trade and stream at the same time. So hats off to the other people that do it and do it consistently. It's not an easy thing to do. After do it for so long, you do kind of get slightly used to it, but it's a major energy requirement. So anyway, we got about 2 minutes before the open. Starting at this volume gap below 950 that we're below at that gap now. Didn't really feel it, we just traded below it. with some markdown. But while I am taking a break from Futures Trade Radio, I am also gonna be still gonna be doing some, like, giving more attention, or giving some attention to the inside the Discord. Try to do some, you know, some voice channel meetups or trade alongs or whatever. So I was like doing the goal was to do like one a week in the Discord on every Tuesday. I took a break last week. Just needed to, you know, there's an energy shift that I'm feeling, and I'm just flowing with it. But I will be still, you know, doing those voice channel things in Discord. So anyone that's interested. Last couple seconds before the open, here we are. Continue to drop the inventory. To MSRP. So we potentially find an inventory floor around that 918 area or 916. Just letting this thing open up, seeing where the mechanics are.
the frequency, energy, vibration, volume. So when that prints, and there's going to be a mechanical quantifying, documenting this, even our minds, they're going to be locked into it so we can make sense. So I'm in the black abyss, unlimited, limitless, unlimited. And I'm sensitive to the energy, the vibration, the volume. Okay, what's happening now? It's going away. So if I'm standing in this place where there's no programming, I'm just in this limitness. Well, what's going to happen then? Well, we've got to continue. There's nothing. Don't you feel it? It's just flowing. So let's watch the energy and the vibration. There's this new interesting force that's coming in this emptiness space where I've got no programs so far. There's just this vibration, this wave that I'm watching, observing, feeling. We're going to call it volume in English. And it's flowing, but there's no momentum, it's just going. So what's going to stop it? And as I say, what's going to stop it? There has to be a response to that, right? Because we first get the mechanics, we get the response, and there's just that nice decline, and there's no, it's gonna flow. And now that it's flown, and we've got to see the degrees and measure it mechanically as it prints, well, then now here we are, we're sequencing again this flow. So we're still there's no programs here. Now there's something interesting happening with this energy, this vibration that we're watching as volume. There's little beats of picking up. And for me, I'm looking at this in multiple degrees. So what am I talking about where it's picking up? So we've got the NQ. There's this increase happening. But as I'm watching this energy, I am noticing these things where it just stops. Interesting. So I'm observing this phenomena too. No programs. What is happening? So this energy, this vibration, this frequency continues to flow. I'm going to stop there. We're going to continue with the normal show. But that's some language right there that if you heard it and you got the breath, it's just a matter of time. It's in there. There's code.
Good stuff. And I'm still just watching this. I'm still looking for the mechanics that, that kind of, well, I'm seeing mechanical responses since the open.
900. We got one right at 900. So we're, as an observer, just watching the energies. It's stopping. Where's it stopping? It's stopping mechanically. And then there's going to boom, 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 boom. If you're, depending upon the degrees that you're witnessing, the energy, the vibration, the volume, it splashes at these prices. And then you get the imprints that you can even get a little signature and a footprint. As there's going to be mechanical things there. But what are they doing? Man. All right, I'm going to stop.
So I drew I picked a balance right before the open, and I drew levels off of that, and I'm seeing mechanical responses as we continue to drop the inventory, drop the supply. So I'm just waiting for all of that to come in alignment with how I plan to execute.
Having a little bit of fun with this little stage I'm putting on, doing a little tap dance now, playing with the language as I'm witnessing these energies, vibrations, looking through the lens of frequency. There's interesting things happening. So what I'm describing is my view of the elephant in the room, but you better believe there's others seeing exactly what I see. I don't know if they're looking through the lens of frequency, but they're on the stage too with me. And they're showing up at the mechanical levels. You can say, obviously there's going to be a machine doing the work, but there's also something interesting when you look at the vibration, the footprint, the imprints, the signatures. Man, there's a language, there's communication happening. It can speak directly. And I would say in English, if you translate it, you can translate it to English. But the main point that I want to say is when we're looking for these levels and you're in this limitless emptiness, black abyss, and you're just witnessing the energy, there's going to be other beings there too, showing up at the scene. How do you see them? Well, they're going to be in volume. And when volume groups, it gets dense, and then there's definition. And you'll get more imprints, footprints, and signatures. All right. So what I'm trying to... Go ahead, Rob.
Just calling out this little volume area by the value area where we're running into this volume gap area right above. But just I'll call it by price, that 890 area. We're starting to see a mechanical print, a mechanical response here.
Why would that be significant? Because that's going to be part of our pre-market. That's our pre-market low, European low right there. Mm-hmm. So if I'm mechanical, see how there's a rhythm to, there's a freaking rhyme to the language, even when you sequence the truth together as you witness it. The elephant in the room. It really is. Good God, man. All right. So, and it's funny how when you just let the silence flow and then you speak, I speak, we're describing the same goddamn thing, man. You see, you're describing as these mechanical levels, and I'm trying to put a different language around it so we can see almost a person there. So as I'm looking, I'm seeing people in a way moving mechanical as using these tools. And you can see them, we're seeing them at the same time. All right, I'll stop. Keep going.
I had to take a quick break as the title of today's stream kind of came to me.
And I'm just waiting patiently to see how the machines quantify value following a mechanical piece of information that was just printed. We're just watching that breath, that wave, that energy, that vibration just do that little, just what is it? What is it? It just is. There is no defining it. Let it be. What are they saying nowadays? Let them cook. Let it cook. So if we're letting it cook, volume's going to decline, and we're watching the machines cook the books. Literally. Okay. You can witness it if you're holding the frequency. 905, we've got a being. So am I a buyer or am I a seller? Where am I going to pull liquidity? based on value to me. Why? Because I've got the machines.
As a point of awareness, we got about 40 seconds before that PMI stuff. Let's see if they want to mix things up with it or what they want to do.
We're holding it right here at 95, and they're going to be very careful for how they tell their side. Because I moved, there's no two ways about it. Why? Because I've moved, and if I'm moving, I leave a footprint. There's an imprint. You can see me move. So I'm going to hold it at 95, and I've got to be real careful because so many people can see me now. And you better believe more we'll see as I'm describing this directly.
Got a quick stir of the pot. But overall, like, they did kind of throw in the volatility sauce here. Just kind of stay on that same, frame of speech. Still say like everything is staying the same. If I like zoom out and just look at what it's actually doing.
And that's holding the frequency. You're just holding the frequency, just witnessing. So you've already to some degree got your awareness to your movement within the scene, but you still need to hold the frequency so you're witnessing. And what's happening is I want to take you, so you're focused, you're holding the frequency, I'm going to move you, but to try to emotionally pull you into the scene. Trap you. And if I'm being trapped, being pulled emotionally, red flag, that's how you know. Now, how do you know that you're part of the show? You're holding the frequency the entire flow, the entire time. To the moment that you're triggered into the scene, you know, all right, this is now me. Boom, I'm in. Now, at that point, you're just surrendering then to the energy, the vibration, the frequency. You can still witness and experience and grow from your awareness to your movement, the response to it, but the energy, the frequency, the rhythm to the beat is the same thing. It doesn't change. What's happening is we're just getting pulled into the scene, trapped, completely losing perspective. But if you just pull back, and I'm just waiting for my turn to step onto the stage and do my dance. It's going to be my part. Then boop boop. I collect my premium from the market. Thank you. And I'll wait for my next scene. My next act. All right. And well played. Well played. And you know what? I'm passive today, so I'm okay with missing the trade.
Yep, same here.
And the reason, and I'm talking directly to the frequency, the energy, the vibration. Man, the just down to the language, and it's so incredible when you can just really be part of the show for real. You know what I'm saying, Rob? Mm-hmm. I know you feeling it, man.
Yep. That being part of the show is like, it's one of the things that I see like that's so it's a major thing, because I posted yesterday across different social media platforms how people respond to boredom, and it's basically where they're, well, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it from how this environment is introduced to the average person, or to everybody, and then where it's just money, how much money can you make, and let's try not to lose all your money, but you're gonna lose money, and everything is around money. However, this is a game at the end of the day. I mean, there's games in life, there's the games that we call games, the sports and all that stuff, but if you taking that sports reference, if you're a professional athlete, the best thing that you can do to separate yourself from the other participants is to remain a student of the game. So we have, like, for basketball, we have like Kobe and Jordan and LeBron and all of these players that we know and love and as being the best at what they do. What set them apart is they remained a student and they kept growing, and they kept, like, when things got boring to the average player, they kept going with it. They kept, staying engaged with the game. So for us traders, we would have to, in these moments where it gets boring, quote unquote boring, and you feel like, your setup's not there, you're just waiting for your setup. Those are the times that you'll actually get the most growth, because if you keep engaged with it, you keep watching and keep looking for different nuances inside of how price moves and all that stuff, that's where you'll understand how the market works. And then you can start to develop your strategy and what you do and how you execute around that, where you'll lean closer into your edge and separate yourself from the average retail trader. And then you'll actually set yourself from those with more capital that they have to move within this market, because they have to act and you can act when you want to. But the more that you stay a student of this environment, of this game, the easier or the better you'll be able to, the more efficiently you'll be able to do that.
All right. Man, with you saying that, a couple things. The first thing is, it's like they're saying, let it cook. So if I'm bored, let the market cook, and I'm gonna watch the show, because if I'm watching it, man, I'm gonna really find out my part in it, because I'm a part of it. That's the only way I can be a part of it. I'm a part of it because I literally am a part of it.
Yep.
I'm attached to it. I've watched it. I know how it moves. I've flown. I've got experience in it. And then the other part was, and you were talking about, you kind of made a statement now. Tom's not here to defend himself, but I have degrees of awareness to what his response to that would be, and he would say, these days, a big misconception that they have been using to their favor is one where we believe that they cannot quickly reposition. That, my friend, nowadays is a myth. Because Tom, he, with a grin on his fucking face, has now gotten to the position where he can quickly reposition. And he can do it to the degree where we're witnessing it in the markets right now. When you see the market just slow down and stop after a big move, what's happening is you're getting a physical manifestation of that. So what we think they can't do in the past, they surely can now. And I believe strongly, when you hold that degree in your awareness, you're gonna level up. Actually, you're gonna really level up. You'll be able to really see a new degree of the show when you're witnessing. For example, boom, 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 I get a huge grouping of volumes to come in from multiple time periods. So let's say I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. For 15 minutes, I've got an increased volume coming in. Now, what we're going to see on the chart is almost a footprint, an imprint, a signature. Okay, so is it going to keep going, or what happens then? So if it stops and we start to see that energy, that vibration cook, do its thing, and it's not going anywhere as a response to that, so you're telling me we got 30,000 contracts that just got traded that pushed in one biased direction, delta way, driven way, and then the response is a dramatic decrease in participation and we don't go anywhere else? Well, there's someone else on the other side of the trade, okay? And now they're holding a degree of balance by being on the other side of the trade. And if there's no one else as a response in this space, well, I have a responsibility holding this other side of this position to balance it, okay? And that's what we're witnessing even right now, okay? I mean, it's happening right now. We're witnessing it. We had a mechanical piece of data happen where we get the high of the cash open, 792 halves. Excuse me, I'm looking at the cash price. That's 949 halves if I'm looking at futures. And then it's a quarter, 949 and a quarter on the retail MNQ micro. So we get that high printed because that volume comes in, and it comes in as one print. And if there's nothing else behind it, that allows me to balance, reposition. I can cook the books. I can do whatever I want to do. I can move the price around, see what other volume comes in, because they're triggered, because they're not even in the market. They're not even witnessing what's happening. They're looking through some kind of mechanical programming. They're not even, it's happening right there in front of them. But I've got so many layers of programming, I can't even really see the scene. That's why it's a good practice. Talk about meditation. A good practice for meditation. Go to the black emptiness of everything and nothing. And what you're going to just witness is the flow of the air, the energy, the vibration. Look through the lens of volume. And then what Price is telling you is these invisible barriers where this energy, this vibration stops. What's happening? Watch from that lens. Woo! Watch from that lens in every scene as you move on this place we call Earth, and you'll really start to see.
Mm-hmm. And now that you bring that up, I gotta mention duality. So because nothing is there in that darkness, everything is there. So
that's right.
you're in the presence of everything, and whatever comes to you naturally is what resonates with you. And then that's how you'll know what to pay attention to and what not to, what to ignore.
That's why it is nothing and everything. And nothing and everything. Where that energy and vibration comes from is us, okay? And that manifests here physically with participation in the exchange. The exchanges don't exist. The games don't exist if we don't play and show up.
Exactly.
So the most important variable to be looking at, that means everything, is the energy, the frequency, the vibration, the participation. And that's the giveaway to the entire scene. But you still have to be holding the frequency to see it, and that's the thing. And that's not the easy thing, especially these days, 2023. Ooh, that title is fire, man. That hits.
Let me go ahead and put it in here. So you got like 2 minutes before the B period transition, and we brought supply back up to where we got the last mechanical supply response around that 944, 945 area, and got another response there. So I'm looking to see if we get another wave of energy for B period.
And see, one other thing I want to talk to you about, Tom. When it's really slow like this, and I've got the market caught in the range, and I'm cooking the books on both sides, like, it's so savage because I can move either way. Because I'm at balance and I'm playing. I'm playing with price and the participation that comes in. And now we're in the day where I can have my AI quantify the individuality, rhythm to the beat, to the sequencing of the participation that comes in when I'm holding this degree of balance. That's the level that we're at these days. I just wanted to, we gotta give Tom his honor to a degree, because they would be, it is, this energy is holding quite a big responsibility in the scene that we haven't been holding unless you've been holding the frequency, holding the responsibility yourself. Man, see how they're playing around? Come on now. All right, I'm gonna stop, but I just wanted to say that when it's this type of action, you wanna really wait for when I show my hand. Okay. So what does, because I've said that before in the past, right? I've brought that up many times. You wanna wait for the hand to be shown. Well, when is that time? Well, if you go through the videos and you kind of just go through the season, right? You go through the season and you get the rhythm to the frequency, the energy. We can now get into the timing of when my hand is being shown. So I'm developing my hand right now. I've got participation in the market. I'm on the other side of the trade. There's no one else to show up. So now it's up to me to balance out this period. I've now got to work this. I'm the only one here. I'm holding the other side to this trade. I've got this range that I can work with, and I'm gonna now work it. And everybody else who's, watching the show, from whatever degree of frequency for them, but they're not holding the frequency of watching, the show for real. They're going to be triggered into the scene mechanically, is what's happening. They're mechanical. You're no different than the AIs. You're no different than the AI when you're moving mechanically and you're not holding the frequency. You're just literally a machine. So I'm going to click through and just trigger all the mechanical movement so that I can cook the books, balance out of my position. And then when more volume comes in, because we've got a whole spectrum of participation that has to trade. They have to put volume in based on obligation. And then and if that's literally what I'm gonna move and I get, and then boom, that's what's happening. I gotta work, and I'm gonna have to, sometimes I gotta work the range for hours. And and I gotta work it. And everybody who's operating mechanically, I'm working them. I'm finessing you. You're part of the finesse. Thank you. Praise be. Thank you for your liquidity. I need you. We need your liquidity. Yep. So all of this prop firm, all of this stuff, come on to the show. And then I'm gonna get real pissed off when we got these prop firms taking that liquidity from me. You're not putting even the volume into the exchange so that I can work with. So I'm gonna start getting pissed off now. You need to start putting MFers in the exchange for this game to work. So you can really start to see more of the scene to what's happening. All right, I'll stop there. sitting here watching this finesse happen, and I'm thinking about the statement I made where I had to defend Tom a bit because we're bashing him, saying that he can't quickly reposition, and how important it is to recognize that that's not actually a true thing when you watch the show for real. And accepting that to a degree allows you to really break free of holding positions when you really shouldn't be, on a deeper level, using the lens of frequency. If I can understand that the hand on the other side of my trade period can quickly get it in and out of positions and it's not holding, why in the hell would I be holding a loss like this unless it's part of my bit in the show? Unless that's part of my part in the show, and I know, it could help you reposition. Just being aware that I can quickly reposition. About that. So if you were short caught at the bottom and you just get the immediate finesse where you get squeezed and then there's a hold because buyers come in because I'm gonna be a dip buyer, but I want confirmation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab you both. I'm gonna measure and see where value is on the squeeze and the buy side liquidity. And then we watched for how many about 18 minutes of me just going back and forth and finessing both sides of the volume, finding out where value lies for me, because I'm on both sides of the trade now. And then as I move price to break out the range, look how I can do it now. It's so savage. I can hold price as I'm breaking outside the range on a whole array, a splash, about 4 or 5 points, and just, man. And then I'll catch more buyers in that price. And then I'm going to be grabbing stops there. And I'm just going to grab them both. Why? Because there's no one on the other side. So what happens when there's a degree of frequency, energy participation, like you and me, master speculators, there's very few of us holding the frequency left. What happens when we spread that energy vibration and everybody starts to level up? Well, then the game does change, actually, because I don't want to speak to it because it's not for me to say, but I can tell you that the game's going to change if the mechanical energy that I'm witnessing man, it's such a deep thing because it's almost like a war of the human spirit witnessing the scene by holding the frequency, and then the mechanical machines completely lost, oblivious, operating mechanically. So when we lean, so and then there's a spectrum and then there's 50% line in the middle. So what happens when one side, what does that look like? Well, so what we lived on, I would argue, based on my point of view and experience in this game, we definitely did have a time where it leaned on the human spirit side. That I can tell you for sure now, it leans on the mechanical side. So if it leans on the mechanical side, for us on the human spirit side, we are in a supreme position. because the mechanics is a reflection of you and me. So the reason I can describe the scene exactly to definition as I am now, witnessing the elephant in the room, is by watching the show for many years, every single day, missing maybe a few days in a year for multiple years, as energy, frequency, and vibration. And what I found, it was a reflection of me, is what I found. And I found that the movement itself, man, we're in such a supreme position, especially now as it leans mechanically. Because I can speak openly, directly to you humans with the breath, and you'll be able to hear me for real. And if you're stuck mechanically, you can't. And I could directly say it to you, the truth, as my point of view to the elephant in the room. And if it is true, it would ring true to you from the inside, on the human side. And again, if I'm leaning on the mechanical side and I don't even have the spirit, I'm not gonna get it. It won't be clear. And so that's why I'm speaking openly about this. We're getting to the time. It's the finale, right? And was I talking on mute the whole time?
Nah, you're good.
Okay. Well, I just gotta check sometimes.
I did find one position. I just took I was just letting everything breathe and, letting the space breathe and, while you're going through your thing and kind of, watching, seeing what was going on, waiting for that position to present itself. Some things hit me while you were talking and it left me already. So we'll see. We got a few more minutes. I got a couple more minutes within my session. That'll probably be my only trade for the day. But I'll see if that, if that energy returns itself to me before I end the stream.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you did mention was the how we're leaning more towards the mechanical side, which, like, to me, that just, what's the word that I want to use? Like, it kind of builds more confidence in a way. It's not really the word I want to go with, but because as humans, like mechanicals, for a mechanical, and let's just call it an entity. For a mechanical entity,
it is easier to predict a machine.
Yep. But it has to act where it is told to act. But as humans, we have our. So I heard someone say this. They were talking about eating, right? And they were talking about health. And the topic for that video was around eating and eating the right foods or whatever. But they mentioned something. They kind of didn't really go into it as much as I wish they would. But they mentioned that the human superpower, like across the board, all humans have a superpower over other entities on Earth, and that's our ability to adapt. And so, because we can adapt, we can recognize these mechanics and we can adapt to that. The mechanics has to wait for us before it adapts. So when everything is leaning more towards the human side, in a way, it's more. It can kind of be more difficult because you're adapting off of other creatures that can adapt also. But when it's more towards the mechanics, well, now you just gotta wait to see the mechanics and you can adapt, and it doesn't adapt until you adapt, or it doesn't adapt until you tell it to. or until it responds to you, which is also you telling it to. So like, you know, there's a lot of course, there's always fear being pushed into, you know, into this realm, but, and you know, it kind of have to do that if, you know, the quote unquote they want to stay in control, because now is the time to where if you hold the frequency and if you're on the spectrum that everything about what we're talking about, then you really are in a position to be more powerful than humans had the ability to be, you know, in previous times, according to the history, right? And I always got to throw that history part in there, because if you wasn't there to experience it, you don't really know. And then I could go deeper into this, but I'm just gonna tap the surface, and because it's a big rabbit hole. But if even things that you feel like you experienced, it can kind of be thrown off by a lot of different things like suggestion, and you know, we can kind of make you believe that things weren't as you experienced, or you know. But my point is that we're in this time and in this space to where you have the ability to take advantage of so many more opportunities than before, simply because of the mechanics.
Yes. And see, I'm glad you're bringing this up too. It's a good, this is a good tone we're in, because it's a, keep going, man. I don't even, keep cooking. Also puts those beings who are holding a point of control in scenes that are holding the frequency, man, oh man, do you have a big responsibility. I would say to hold the frequency even more and move in your honest, loving way.
And then that's at the center of it all, because at the beginning, as I mentioned about staying in, you know, remaining a student of the game, at the core of that is love. Like, so I keep paying attention to this market and remaining a student of it, you know, quote unquote, because I love it. I'm not just here because it's a way for me to make money, or it makes me cool or whatever, or I can grow my YouTube channel off of it or anything like that. I'm here because I pay attention. I put this energy into it because I love it.
Facts.
You know, there's a lot of layers to that love element, but it's really look at it.
And because it's love, you know, it's on the opposite of the spectrum. If it's love, there's hate in it too.
It has
Because
to
you
be.
need the hate to even know what love is.
Yep, it can't exist without it. I think that's a good place to bring today's session, the season finale, to a close. Just as a quick summary of what I'm looking at now. I see, like, so the VWAP is something that I've been kind of paying attention to this morning. And that zone has been holding up as a pretty solid point of inventory interest. And we just got another inventory response off of it. And so we're starting to make our way back to supply. So right now we're just holding this range and maintaining the range. I wouldn't be surprised to see, you know, a break in either direction out of this range at some point today. But, you know, they can keep price inside of it. Anything is possible. And if I was to still be participating, I wouldn't I would just maintain awareness to it and then let it come to me. Let it, wouldn't change the thing. I wouldn't change nothing about how I participate. I would just maintain the awareness, hold the frequency, and keep doing what I do. So on that note, I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I don't know when we're gonna start the next season again, but of course I give a notification about when that'll be, and it'll be, we'll let that time come when it comes. All right, so hope you have a good weekend, good rest of your day, and until the next time, trade it easy.